it's a false equivalency. This entire thing is one big false equivalency fallacy, as far as I'm concerned. There's a lot of false equivalencies here regarding how your affiliation is with Calvary Chapel, and then even the things that they're laying out against the Calvary Chapels that were wrong. So anyway, let's keep reading. Just like Sean Bowles used to be a part of Bethel, but then left and went on his own, but still got pegged by Mike as being a part of Bethel. I know what Sean Bowles did wrong, and he shouldn't be in ministry. But if Mike is spending tons of time going after Sean Bowles, who never touched a person, he said that with a lot of certainty there, and most likely can't be charged with a crime and what he did, then why is Mike ignoring the bombshell child trafficking lawsuit with Greg Laurie, who was a big part of the church where Mike came from, Calvary Chapel, and its biggest name? Now, there's an obvious problem here. Before I say anything about Greg, Harvest Christian Fellowship is not a Calvary Chapel.
I want to highlight this real quick. Sean Bowles, who never touched a person. Let me just say, Steve, you do not know that, friend. You do not have a clue what you're talking about. And there are many, you've heard some stories from 3 victims. There are many others. And sometimes the people who've suffered the worst do not want to share their stories. Okay, so I have to navigate this carefully. But no, you don't know that. But that's irrelevant. What this does is it's diminish the harms to these victims. Oh, but he never even touched anybody. Go tell that to the guy the multiple guys who were literally after their engagements with the fake prophet Sean Bowles. Okay, secondarily, if that's his standard, Greg Laurie's not even accused of touching anybody. It's not even an accusation. I did read one article on this situation with Greg Laurie. I know as much about it as anybody who's read one article on it, right? I read the one article, and I don't want to comment on it in like official capacity, because who knows what else is behind the scenes there or under the surface. I don't know, okay? But I read the one article, and it looked really thin. It looked as though they were just reporting a lawsuit has been filed, accusations are being made, and they're claiming this, but there was no evidence presented, and there was, not that I saw, and I didn't see the connection to what looked like real-world horrible harms that happened in Europe under this missionary. But I can't comment on stuff personally unless I know a lot of stuff about it. And I'm not going just after Sean Bowles. Here's what happened. I found out about Sean Bowles. I posted some stuff online, and then the floodgates started opening. And people started coming to me from all over the place. And they were like, dude, it's not just Sean Bowles. It was Bob Jones. It's Bob Hartley. It's Chris Reed. It's Augustin Ocala. It's Paul Kane. It's John Paul Jackson. It's Mike Bickle. And I could keep going and going and going. And these are just the ones we know about. And in these cases, no arrests are made. No convictions happen. And people are still lifted up as great prophets in the movement. So if in these cases they had all been like the list he'll give us later, arrest records, why would I make a video about it? I'm not just reporting here's bad stuff that happened in a church. Like I'm trying to stop an ongoing abusive culture that involves cover-up. And so anyway, all that to say, these are the people who came to me. So and stories were all connected. So I grabbed and I ran with it. If I had at the same time last year had a ton of Calvary Chapel people come to me, I would have absolutely run with that story. But now that I've shared this stuff publicly, there's a flood of stories coming, and including some from Calvary's. I just don't have the human capacity. I mean, I work from the time I wake up until I'm just too exhausted to work every day. I don't have the capacity to keep chasing all these trails, so I'm trying to focus on ones that are connected to the stories I already know, because I can really move the ball forward there. Others, we've paid for them to have attorneys, we've given them free counseling, and we've even sought in cases like connecting them with other people. Hey, I can't handle this case. Can you handle it? We're doing as much as we can here. But yeah, the Greg Laurie thing, I just want to say, because people will clip this out, please include this part. I do not personally have any conviction that he is guilty, nor do I have knowledge that he is not. I am not going to be drug into this because loud voices are trying to ask me to be. I've never been I've never been one to be like, you have to do this. Now, I'm not afraid to talk about Calvary. I did a video that got me in a lot of trouble where I talked about Pastor Chuck Smith. If there's a darling of the Calvary Chapel churches, it's Chuck. And I talked about him falsely predicting the rapture and about how they have effectively covered it up inside the movement. And I got a lot of flack for this.
I remember that video came out.
I'm not at Calvary anymore. And I'm not saying that's the only reason, but it's not unrelated. And it was because I was willing to call that stuff out. So what's happening here is when I've done these exposure videos, there's people who have an axe to grind, and they're like, Mike, you are not grinding my axe. You're grinding some other axe. You're not grinding my axe. And I'm frustrated about it. And so I have people going, Mike, you're willing to call out the low-hanging fruit in the charismatic world, but you refuse to call out the abuses in the SBC. You refuse to call out the abuses in the Reformed world. And what about John MacArthur? There was a Roy's Report article, multiple on him, and you haven't said a word about it. And what about this? And what about that? And I'm going, you guys think I just like sit down for 20 minutes and make a video? It's like hundreds of hours of work. So in my rubric of this, it's like, if it's getting a lot of attention already, and it looks like justice may happen on its own, I don't need to spend time on it. If I don't have access to the witnesses and the time to invest in it, then I'm not going to. And this is not my ministry focus. So I can't divert the rest of my attention, the rest of my life onto these issues. I'm trying to steward well the victims who've come to me. And I believe that in producing this series on cover-up culture, it's going to help expose stuff in Calvary chapels. Because it's contagious, and people will rise up and they'll, you know what, that story I know that I've been silent about for all these years, I'm going to make noise now. And I hope it does expose more. Whether it's in Calvary's or not, I don't care.
I'm looking forward to hearing from you at the Bless God Summit. You're going to be joining us, so I'm super excited about that. You said you've been kind of thinking about, praying about what you want to talk about. Any ideas, or you still a ways away from?
I don't know, man.
Yeah, man. Why don't you guys drop it in the comments? What would you guys want to Mike talk about? I think we're gonna do a panel, and then you said you might feel led to do your own keynote, and we'll see how that goes. So if you guys want to hear something specific from Mike, leave it in the comments.
I'll check the comments. I'll see what ideas they got.
All right, Mike. Thank you so much. I know you got a jet. Appreciate you. This will be out today, so yeah, we'll get it out there. Cool. All right.
Thanks, Ruslan.
Guys.
God bless you, man. Appreciate you.
All right, peace.
Guys, the second annual Bless God Summit is happening March 5th, 6th, and 7th here in beautiful Oceanside, California. Right here on the beach. The Seabird Resort is right in front of me, and it is going to be amazing. We have myself, Ruslan KD. We have Wes Huff as our keynote for night one. We have KB and Amin from Southside Rabbi, Josh Nadeau, Dustin Tavella, America's Got Talent winner. And we just confirmed the legendary Indie Tribe doing a live performance, as well as Gavin Ortland, Dr. Sean McDowell, and there's more to be announced. I see you guys in the comments. I see you engaging. I appreciate the support, but we need some of you to come off of the comments and come join us in person at the Bless God Summit. Go to blessgodsummit.com, save some money, and get yourself out here March 5th, 6th, and 7th.
I decided to just come, not really knowing what to expect. And man, I'm so glad that I did.
You don't expect it to be so intimate. And so like the group of people that was there, I think it was great. We were able to see people who are truly seeking God. We got to see a ton of people who are special, and we'll call it in the industry.
One of our major takeaways has just been how God blesses in you being faithful. A lot of Christians just want to chase after success instead of chasing faithfulness.
I think it's just been really effective how like everybody has been teaching you how they've been able to like follow Jesus and make disciples as they're going.
It's a really classy summit. I am just very impressed with the quality and the structure, and just a very classy, very nice.
As much as like we can get so much from online content, there's a huge difference between being here. None of these people are egotistical. They'll shake hands with you.
I did the sponsorship back in November and just left it in God's hands and just prepared myself, if he allowed it, that I would be here. Here I am.
People that you're gonna meet are amazing.
You're gonna meet friends here, and you're also gonna be edified.
I'm honestly amazed at the diversity and the need.
It's a super fun time, so you guys are not gonna want to miss out.